One of the most important figures in a sheep enterprise is percentage of lambs reared. Let's face it, a live lamb beats a dead one every time. In the QMS publication, Cattle and Sheep Enterprise Profitability in Scotland, the figures for the sheep enterprises surveyed make interesting reading. Of the LFA hill breeding flocks surveyed, the top third showed an average net margin profit of £12.99 per ewe, compared to the lowest third's average figure of a net margin loss of £5.59 per ewe. That's a difference of over £18 per ewe. And that was with more than £21 per ewe paid in support payments. When it came to the number of lambs reared, the flocks in the top third averaged 115%, while the percentage of lambs reared in the bottom third averaged just 78%. For 500 ewes, that means 185 less lambs reared. So what sort of performance targets should farmers be aiming for?
I think they have to look at two main things, stocking rate and lambing percentage. These are the two main factors that affect profitability.
A lot of farmers are disappointed to find that their scanning rates are probably quite high, but then when it comes to lambing, the figures are disappointing. So what are the reasons for that?
It can vary from farm to farm, but losses between scanning and lambing percentage are usually quite low at about 3%. Most of the lambs are lost around birth, and then a small number lost in the fields after the lambs have been marked. Between scanning and lambing, the main losses will occur due to abortion. So that could be toxoplasma or enzootic abortion, which you can take vaccinations against, or occasionally you'll get things like Campylobacter, which you can't do much about.
So it's important for the farmer to make sure that the health of his sheep is absolutely right.
You've got to take precautions. If you're in a risk situation, you vaccinate.
What sort of live weight gain should farmers be aiming for off grass? I mean, there's lots of different sheep systems in Scotland, but the grass one.
Between birth and weaning, lambs should do about 280 grams per day on a good grass sward. A really good growing lamb will be finished in 100 days if it's a single, maybe it's 120 if it's a twin. But very often farmers don't achieve these targets.
And why don't they achieve those targets?
Well, they often fail to take account of managing the swards to maximise the quality of the material. So you've got to have swards which are about 4 to 6 centimetres in height in May. Sometime in May you've got to get on top of swards, get the sward height down to 4 centimetres, and then that'll guarantee you good quality material in July and August when you're trying to finish lambs. Farmers can benchmark the pastures just by doing a simple pinch and pluck test. What you do is you simulate what the grazing animal does, and then just look at the material that has been collected. You can sort it out into dead material, which is obviously of no use to the animal, and live green grass, which is going to be of high quality. Also, you can check for the amount of clover, which is going to have a big effect on performance. A high clover content will increase lamb grains by 50 grams a day.
For a farmer who's wanting to maximise the health of his stock, to maximise the production of them, what's the best advice you can give him?
Buy clean stock for a start. Know where you are. Benchmark your health for a start. Work with your vet in developing a health plan so that you can tackle the major causes of loss.
So what sort of health challenges can actually damage the performance of lambs at grass?
Most of the problems at grass will be down to either coccidiosis or worms, but worms, it's much better to avoid the challenge in the first place rather than dose on a regular basis. Also, we're increasingly finding resistance to anthelmintics on farms. 60% of farms have shown anthelmintic resistance, and in that situation you're better to do a worm egg count about 10 or 14 days after drenching to see if the drenches work.
If lambs have got a parasitic infestation, what impact does that have on their performance?
You'll be looking at something like a 4 to 6 kilogram weight difference between unchallenged lambs by weaning. So it's costing quite a lot of money. That's about £4 to £6 in value, and so an untreated worm challenge is definitely a problem.
Where farmers are collecting data on the performance of their lambs, how can they be sure that they're actually achieving the correct targets?
I think the first thing to do is to compare your results with what you achieved in previous years. That's the whole point of benchmarking. Benchmarking is the first step in the roadmap to success. Then you can compare it with other people's results, possibly at a monitor farm. I think it's far better to sort of go to a monitor farm and compare your results with other people rather than just go to the auction mart and complain about prices. You know, I mean, it's something you can do something about once you know where you are. Once you know where you are, you know where you can go.
The top third of the LFA breeding flocks surveyed by QMS spent over £1.50 per ewe more on veterinary costs than the bottom third, demonstrating that investment in preventative flock health pays a substantial dividend. At North Connell, near Oban, lies the extensive hill farming enterprise of Ardaghy Estate. Ardaghy runs to 18,500 acres, and it's been managed for almost 30 years by Malcolm MacDonald. In addition to 100 suckler cows, there's a closed flock of 1,200 blackfaces and 300 Scotch mules crossed with Texels. One of the key factors in controlling the spread of disease is the need for isolation premises when stock are brought onto farms for the first time. And that's a subject on which both Oban-based vet Max Bonnywell and Malcolm MacDonald are equally enthusiastic. Today they're casting an eye over some bought-in tups.
What I'd like to do is just see them walked around a little bit, just check that they're not lame, and also just keep an eye on their breathing.
Yes.
It's important. As you know, it's very important that we don't bring any respiratory diseases in. It's one of the things we're concerned about. You know, there's this condition, OPA or Yagseet, that we see in...
Drover's disease.
That's it, Drover's disease, that's right. And sheep in advanced stages of that will show respiratory distress. It's most unlikely you'd buy anything like that. It wouldn't be for sale, but it's something we should just check on, I think.
Check on. Well, we'll just do that.
Okay, so we'll just walk them around a little bit.
Right.
Yep. Nobody showing any respiratory signs, nobody lame. Okay, that's fine. We'll just catch them up one by one and just check them over. Okay?
Right.
Right, okay, let's have a little look. I just want to check his mouth.
Right, Max.
First of all, that's fine. That's good. Eyes, as you probably know, we get quite a lot of sheep with this infectious eye disease, contagious ophthalmia, and it's often brought in with tups. He's not showing any signs of it, but you need to watch that you don't bring something in. And I'm also wanting to check his glands under here, down the neck, under the jaw. This is for CLA or caseous lymphadenitis. Again, it's not something we see in this area, but we don't want to bring it in. He's in great condition. Whilst you've got him standing like that, I'll just have a little feel of his testicles under here. Yeah, they're fine, symmetrical, free within the scrotum. No problems there. Okay, we'll just turn him over now, Malcolm. Right, that's better. Right. Okay, testicles fine. We'll just check his pizzle. That's good. No problems there. That looks perfectly healthy. Brisket, no problems there. No signs of any ticks or anything like that on him. That's good. Right.
You may as well do some...
No, hold on. I want to do his feet, check his feet.
Right.
I haven't done that yet. And we'll just have a look at his feet. He's not lame, as you saw. But the other thing that we're concerned about here is a disease we don't see is this cod, or contagious ovine dermatitis, which causes lesions around the coronet. He's got a small growth there between his digits, but that's no problem. No signs of scad or foot rot, no signs of cod. Quite happy with that. I think you should keep these isolated for 4 weeks. I know you want to only keep 2 weeks,
2 weeks,
but 4 weeks is what we want, okay?
Right.
That's what we'd suggest. And in that time, just keep a very close eye on them. Eye disease, any foot disease, respiratory disease particularly, watch out for all those things. And give us a shout if you're concerned.